It's Sunday, 11 o'clock, and it's beautiful outdoors. Great weather we're having. And this is Real Estate Report, the Week in Review. With us today, we have a number of guests, and we'll get right into it. And our first guest is David Grossman.
Hello, Gary. How are you?
Good, thank you,
Good.
David. It's
Good
been
to
a
be
while.
here. It's been a while. Thanks for having me on your show.
Oh, it's
again.
always a pleasure.
I appreciate it.
Now, David is our mortgage specialist. Now, you're with Mortgage Mensch?
Well, I mean, Mortgage Mensch is just my, a brand. Some people know what it means, but the actual company is Mortgage Loans Canada.
Oh,
Mortgage
okay.
Center, Mortgage Loans Canada.
Mm-hmm.
So Mortgage Mensch is just a brand name. That means something to some people. But, even people who don't know what it means, I get all kinds of people responding to my emails when I send it out. So you know what a mensch is, of course.
I know what a mensch. It's a Yiddish term.
Does everyone in the audience here know what a mensch is? Well,
No.
mensch is an honest person. So I figured, an honest mortgage broker can't be a bad thing. Right?
And I think it's more than, it's honest, but a good-natured, good-hearted,
Thank you.
honest
Right.
mortgage broker.
Thanks, Gary. And I thought that the alliteration with the M's, it's a gimmick, but I think I feel it's sincere. I take pride in trying to give people good advice. Good, honest advice is what
Absolutely.
I try and do, Gary.
David, we have known each other for several years,
Mm-hmm.
and you've always been great.
Thanks,
your
Gary.
clients have always been satisfied. You've done great work. Now, just on a personal note, we've never really talked about this before on the various shows. I've been on your show. You have a show, and you've been on my show before. How long have you been in this business?
The mortgage business?
The mortgage business.
About 8 or 9 years now.
Really?
Yes.
And how did that all come about? What was that sort of defining moment where you decided that this is the kind of work
Right.
that you wanted to do?
Right. Well, I've been in sales all my life, and I actually worked in the high-tech industry for about 15 years. I worked for Bell Canada and for some other software companies. But the thing is that technology is not really my strength. I just kind of fell into that, and I'm good with people, I think. And I've always been good with numbers. And at some point in my career, I decided that I wanted to become self-employed. So I had to decide, what am I going to do for a living? And so I was thinking either real estate or mortgages. And mortgages just seemed to be a better fit for me. So I went for it and have not looked back.
Right, so you've been at this for 8 years.
Right.
What was the market like at that time? Because I know mortgage market, real estate market goes in cycles. You have your ups and downs, and it's interesting to know something about the background of people. That what was it at that time that made them get into the business to even begin with? What was the market like?
Well, the market has been, very good for a number. I mean, the real estate market has been very good for a number of years.
Right.
Now, in terms of becoming a mortgage broker or a mortgage specialist, I think it cycles slightly differently, because I think a big factor in terms of how much business there is out there for a mortgage broker is what your competition is like. And so one thing that we as mortgage brokers have to deal with, that, let's say, real estate agent won't have to deal with, is competition from the banks. So that is a major factor in how your business goes. But I mean, there has been plenty of business out there. It's just a matter of being able to carve out your niche and go after it and get it.
We'll leave that comment about the banks for a moment. For our viewers, we go an entire range. We have real estate professionals watching us. We have homeowners watching us, tenants, people that are thinking of getting into the housing market watching us. And perhaps you could tell our viewers, what is a mortgage broker? How is a mortgage broker different than going to the bank and approaching a mortgage professional?
Right. Okay. Well, first of all, when you're talking to, let's say, any mortgage specialist, and this could be at a bank or it could be a mortgage broker, you're talking to somebody who does mortgages 24/7. When you walk into a bank branch, sometimes you're talking to people who handle deposits, investments, car loans, all kinds of things. And some of the people who come to me because they say that they weren't getting the service that they need. You know, when you buy a house and you have 5 business days to get financing, you need to be dealing with somebody who really knows what they're doing and who specializes in it. So if, you know, I remember one case where the people came to me and the person at the bank says, yeah, no problem. Well, you know, Monday comes, they're on a conference. Tuesday comes, they're off sick. Wednesday comes, they say they're going to get back to them by Thursday. By Thursday afternoon, they found out that despite the fact that they thought they were pre-approved, the person actually was mistaken because he didn't qualify the person's income properly. They were self-employed and not a regular employee. So by Thursday night, the referral came to me, and by Friday at 2 p.m., we had an approval. So you have to deal with somebody who specializes, first of all.
Absolutely. Now, if I go into a bank, and I'm not picking on banks per se, but
Right.
as an example, I'll go into a bank, I would think that I will only be sold that bank's product. And I probably will be cross-sold on other products.
Right.
So here I go in for a mortgage and I'm going to get a MasterCard or a Visa account and maybe a line of credit, and a lot of other products are being shown to me. And there's a lot of pluses for that.
Right.
However, I'm only being exposed to one company's mortgage product.
That's true.
As a mortgage broker, I know that you expose or approach a variety of lenders. You get to know the needs of your client.
Right.
You get to know them, what their needs are, what their means are.
Right.
And you approach a variety of lenders. If you can explain that a little bit more. Sure.
Well, I mean, you know, we are able to arrange mortgages with literally dozens of different institutions. There are 2 or 3 banks that are still on board with mortgage brokers. Not all banks will deal with mortgage brokers. Scotia really seems to like mortgage brokers. TD likes mortgage brokers, and Bank of Montreal used to, but for whatever reason they've decided not to. But there's also many credit unions and other institutions that we can get mortgages from.
Now, I do know that some banks do their own mortgage work exclusively. They don't work in conjunction with a mortgage broker. And some banks also are very mobile, which is wonderful. I mean, they have a mortgage specialist that will go to a person's home.
Right.
However, again, it's selling that one bank's product.
That's true.
And I know that with mortgage broker professionals, they have a variety of lenders, and they'll have, as you said, credit unions, banks,
Right.
Other lenders, even private lending sources. And it all goes back to the needs of that person, what their means are,
Right.
what kind of home they're going to purchase, what their background, financial background is. But there seems to be some type of product for most people. So, like you can work with newly arrived Canadians.
That's right.
You can work with self-employed.
Exactly.
That would have traditionally a greater difficulty in approaching a more traditional source of lending, such as a bank. Is that
right.
correct?
Oh, that's a very good point, Gary, because you know, we have clients that we call A clients, you know, like clients who are good, strong borrowers, and they could be new immigrants, you know, and some banks will take one look at them and say, no, sorry, you haven't been here long enough, you need to come up with 35% down. And, you know, I've been referred clients like that, and we can get them mortgages at other banks or other A lenders with fully discounted rates, sometimes with 5 and 10% down. So that's one of the benefits in dealing with a mortgage broker who can deal with multiple institutions, is that you're going to save time. It can also be discouraging and disheartening if somebody, you know, let's say they're self-employed, they go into a bank and they want to try and get a mortgage, and the bank says, no, sorry, can't do it. You know, you don't show enough income. It could be very discouraging, and that person may just say, well, okay, forget it. So I'll just leave it alone for another year or two. Whereas if they visit a mortgage broker might look at it and say, you know, there's nothing wrong with this application at all. We can get you a great mortgage. We just have to know which institution to place it at.
So certain lenders will appeal to or go out into the marketplace to attract a certain type of borrower. Now, very often you'll hear more traditional lenders or even agents saying, go out and get pre-approved on a mortgage.
Right.
Before you purchase, see how much you will qualify, gives you a better idea of the type of price range of the home you're going to be searching for, especially today in the market where you're getting multiple offers, you know, to keep a very focused and disciplined approach that you know your top price.
Right.
Based on the kind of mortgage you're able to get. You as a mortgage broker, I would think that you would be very positive to having people approaching you in advance. I tend to think mortgage brokers are the people that a lot of prospective home buyers, when they have their financing condition, will approach once they have an accepted offer and they're in that 5 business or banking day condition period. They will approach you, and you have a very short range of time to arrange a mortgage. What are your thoughts about pre-approval with a mortgage broker?
Well, pre-approval is very important because nobody wants to spend a lot of time working on a project. This is from the buyer's point of view, this is from the real estate agent's point of view, this is from the seller's point of view, hours, days, you know, working on a project, trying to find the right property, negotiating a deal, and then finding out that you don't qualify. So it's very important, and we do get a number of referrals from real estate agents in particular who say, look, please talk to my client, make sure that they can qualify, because nobody wants to waste all that time and energy to find out that they don't qualify, or they don't have the right paperwork in order, or maybe there's an error on the credit bureau that could have been dealt with and cleared up before. Because like you say, Gary, once you've got that accepted offer, you have a limited period of time. You need to be able to move fast.
Exactly. I think also it's like framing artwork. How you frame it will give a different impression. So you can take the same information about a person and frame it in a way that will look, or package it in a way that looks most attractive to a lender.
Right.
We're going to wrap up this portion of the show. Quick view on credit unions.
Well, some of the credit unions are getting very hungry, and they're going after business, and they're trying to compete with the likes of the Bank of Montreal's, who everyone's been talking about since January, with their 2.99% rate. They're hungry, and there is a product now that competes head-on with that. They actually can get it for, they have advertised it for 2.98%.
Wow.
So they wanted to get just a little bit lower than Bank of Montreal, and it's a full-featured product, you know, with up to 30-year amortization and full prepayment privileges. So
wonderful.
they are hungry.
Before we wrap up, can you just tell our viewers, if they want to reach you, give us a phone number?
Sure.
Or a way that they can reach you?
Absolutely. The phone number is 416-876-2031.
Well, thank you very much. We're
Thank
going to
you,
have you
Gary.
back on again. You're almost on every show. How do you like that?
Well, it's nice to have connections.
I had a whole list of questions to ask you, And I don't think we even asked one. So we'll
Well,
get
that's
you.
good.
We'll ask all these questions on
Okay,
another
no
show.
problem.
Thank you very much. We're going to take a break at this moment, and we'll be back soon. Thank you. Welcome back. We're here for our second portion of the show. And we have with us a gentleman by the name of Gene Meandro. Is that correct?
Yes.
I pronounced that correctly.
You did, yes.
Unfortunately, the person that typed all this up for me, because I do get my notes, forgot off the R. Anyways, Gene is with Lighthouse Inspections. Gene, welcome.
Thank you.
It's a
I
pleasure to
appreciate
have
being
you here.
Thank you.
Tell us something about you. How long have you been in this type of business?
Well, I've done this since 1999. It's a full-time business. It's interesting and it's a lot of fun because people come to you with a dream, and you want to try and find out whether it's actually a dream or maybe turns out to be a nightmare.
Right.
And what we do is we attempt to educate people on the home that they're going to purchase. It's a good feeling. It's a good time for people because they're happy and excited about this sort of thing. And we try to make sure that they know everything about it and whether it's a good move or not.
You know, I've sort of, from my own experience over the years in buying or selling a home, and watching other people purchase or even sell, I find that the time during which an inspection is done, it's almost like the prospective homeowner is holding their breath. They love this house, they want it to work, and although they want you to do your utmost, to do your best, to do thorough work, and tell them all the bad things, there's a part of them that doesn't want to hear anything bad, that they want this to be their dream home. So you have a really important role.
Well, I think a lot of that comes down to not necessarily what's right or wrong about a house, but also in how you explain it. Because there's a lot of issues in a home. Every house has some issues, whether it's wear and tear or damage or deterioration in some way. If you approach it in a proper manner and explain why things happen and what you may have to do about it, how you can correct it, what a cost may be, that type of thing.
Right.
So it's
Do you
really
actually get into an idea of costing?
Oh yes, yes we do.
Because, you know, I've looked over, I've been in a position as a lawyer reviewing some of these reports. Unfortunately, usually at the time when a problem has arisen, either prior to closing, something has developed, or a problem has compounded, whether it be a roof or water damage or seepage, or after closing. And I'm looking through it and I would say to them, well, you know, there are these points in the report talking about the roof and the roof shingles and related aspects that deal with the roof, where moisture has or water has actually seeped into the attic area. And, you know, and my first question is like, you knew about it, okay, it's in the report, you have to repair it, how about cost? And they would say, no, you know, I had this report done, it was, you know, yes, it was pointed out, but it was in such a minor way and nothing was related as to cost. Or I'll see a furnace 12 years old where they're not told what is the life of a furnace, what should I anticipate.
Yes, we do that.
Maybe you can add something to that.
We handle pretty well all of that because, as I had said earlier, we tend to educate people. We take them with us. We teach them where everything is located, the condition of it. When we talk about a roof, for instance, people think that, well, if it looks a little bit older, then it may not have any life left. We can give people sort of a basic idea of what the lifespan is remaining. We give them it. With a furnace, it has a lifespan as well. Everything technically has a lifespan. And as a result, we give people some idea of what that is so that they understand what they're getting into, what their potential costs may be, either now or in the future. And it goes from there.
You mentioned educating your client.
Yes.
Curiosity pushes me to ask, what type of training does one should have in this field? Like what is your background in terms of what were you doing before you started doing house inspections?
Well, I was a builder for over 20 years, also a licensed economic developer.
Right.
I built houses, commercial buildings, industrial buildings. We did cottages, all that sort of thing. I consulted the government. I built some of the Department of National Defense complexes.
Wow.
And the HST, I'm afraid I built a couple of those as well when that came in.
That's impressive, Gene.
Thank you. And it's just, the background was, my background is relatively strong in that way, I guess. And I've had a lot of experience in that sort of thing, so I've enjoyed it. I'm not sure if I'm really getting to the answer of what your
No,
question
you
is.
have. You're telling me that you have practical, hands-on experience in something of which you're now inspecting. You know it from the ground up.
Yes.
Now, in terms of formal training, you had mentioned to me when we had met several months ago that you had gone to the U.S. and you took some courses there.
Yes, the thing is that inspection business started really to take hold in about 1994 here in Canada. And it was much prior to that in the States. So knowing this, I did some research and found that there were there was one individual that amongst 5 that was left that created home inspections. So I wanted to get to that person because of their extensive background, because of their knowledge, which to me was superior to what we had here. And so what I did was I went down to the States, I took the training at the university there, and came up here and then expanded on it in a Canadian manner. So we redid everything in a Canadian manner, like this report here is totally Canadian. We are all Canadian.
I do want to point out to our viewers who are, as I said, are homeowners, prospective homeowners, but we also go to a lot of agents who are in a position where they're with their clients and have to usually arrange for a house inspector or inspection to be done. And I will point out that you're very different than a lot of other house inspectors because of the background you have, because of this, your contracting background, your schooling specific for this field.
Yes.
Now, just getting into who is Lighting Inspection Canada? What is that all about?
Lighthouse Inspection Canada.
I'm sorry?
Lighthouse Inspection Canada.
Lighthouse.
Yes.
Okay, Lighthouse. I made that mistake on purpose. Okay, Lighthouse Inspections Canada.
Yes.
Who are they? It's a franchise?
It's a franchise company.
Right.
We have 18 inspectors, and I actually teach them. I train them in the same manner that I learned. What I do is we do a boardroom training, a technical training. I teach them all about this business, and then we do practical training, which is out there actually interacting with the clients, with buyers and with sellers and agents, and teach them how to use this binder in an appropriate way.
Okay, so let me just, does this get it on camera? Yeah, okay. I think that works. So this is your binder.
Yes.
You do your inspection.
It's a 38-page binder.
Uh-huh.
And as I say,
okay, this is great. Look at this.
You know, this book here is a little education on
I've been told okay, we're going to take a different view of this.
This is an education as well on what things cost, how to maintain the house, what to look for on a month-to-month basis, so that...
this is, you know what, I don't, from my very limited experience in this area, I don't remember seeing anything of a booklet like this.
No.
That helps you after the fact how to maintain. Usually this is what, I get this, have it, thank God it passed, I get my house and I put it away and I never see it again unless I got a problem. But so this is good, that's helpful. Okay, so then you go through this, and now when someone when you're doing a house inspection,
Yes.
like, do you have this in hand and you go through the house with it?
We fill it out as we go along.
Okay.
And we're also talking to the client as well, the buyer,
Yes.
and explaining everything, explaining what we're looking at and what we're looking for.
Right.
And then teaching them at the same time where everything is located. And if we spot something that needs or is a concern, then we explain that to them
Yeah.
and what the concern is, what it may cost to fix it. Now, in this binder here, for instance,
Yeah. Yes.
this is the information that we fill out.
Yes.
And this is also, everything here is related here, you see. It's you don't have to flip back and forth.
Oh, so this gives added information
All
for
kinds,
the areas
yes.
that, you know,
Yes, it does.
this is wonderful. This is a great resource.
I think
Because
so.
I've seen where they'll sort of say roof and they'll give a short sentence about a roof.
Mm-hmm.
And then it'll give areas of the roof that usually like good, satisfactory, poor.
That's
needs
somewhat
im-
vague. You can't do that.
Right,
That sort of-
and it'll check off, but I've never seen this before.
Well, we use
This
the,
is quite nice.
it is quite educational, and we use the binder as opposed to these discs and some of the internet type of things that people punch in because
So this is really geared for people like me who have
Yes.
silver hair.
well,
That-
I'm afraid I do too, but that doesn't.
I'd be so embarrassed to pull out my so-called smartphone, which isn't very smart. Okay, so this
Well,
is geared.
The
this
thing is, we
quite-
make notes on this page all the time.
Right.
So you get personal notes on there, little comments on what you should do, that type of thing.
Right.
And that goes all the way through from the exterior right through to the attic.
Right. Now, do you usually have the buyer's agent there too?
Yes.
And they're like,
Well, some of the newer
ignore
agents.
this, don't do this, don't check that.
Oh, we get that sometimes, but we continue
They put
to do.
pressure on you and
Well, the agents that I
ignore
know,
the water seepage or the
Yeah.
water stains. Okay.
they sometimes tend to look at it that way. But again, what happens is we do it anyway.
Right.
But they see that when we're doing it, it's how we explain it. For instance, you can have some water seepage. You locate where that comes from, what the source of it is, and you identify that and what it may cost to repair that.
Mm-hmm.
So now it's not a big issue any longer.
One of my key questions, like I know that weather and time of the year does have an effect on what you're able or
Yes.
cannot inspect. So, you know, there's been a snowstorm or it's in the middle of winter, it's difficult to check a roof.
Yes.
In December, you may not be able to check the air conditioning unit
Yes.
or the swimming pool. But on a roof, are there some things you can do? Can you go into the attic and sort of see the bottom portion of that roof? Do you see signs of how the roof is?
Well, the thing is, unless you have, like in Southern Ontario, we don't get that much of an accumulation on roofs. So the snow, if
Especially grow houses.
it's yeah, that's
Well,
true.
that'll be a topic for some other day.
Yeah, they're
Okay.
usually pretty clear.
Okay.
But the roof, if it has a thin shield of snow on it, you can still tell how the shingles are lying there.
Okay.
If you go up to, what we do is we go up to the edge of the roof, and you can tell from the shingles how brittle they are, whether it's just how they're lying on the roof itself. So still, even in the wintertime, to a very large degree, we can tell the condition of them. And we do look into the attic.
And you
to
do
see-
look at that, so which
Oh,
is
yes.
really important.
Yeah, and we see what's going on the underside, which is the sheathing, they call
Right,
it, the plywood
okay.
underneath. And we can get an idea of what that condition is too, if there's any leaking in there, if there's any mold, that type of thing. And-
I think it's also true that I think you get a general impression of the home, how that seller has maintained the home.
Yes.
And usually if you see some troubled areas, it's usually it's a sign of other problems going on in the house. Typical price for standard home size?
For an inspection?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's usually $375 plus the tax.
Right.
That's the average.
And you're probably getting more sellers perhaps getting inspections done before they list.
We're getting that a lot now. the people that want to have this on their table, the dining room table, to say, okay, when the buyer comes in, they may find some issues, and they say, well, how do we deal with that? It's already addressed in here.
Okay, so that's become a big area, I know
Yes.
that. And you're starting to do more work after, once someone has used you for the inspection, 5 years go by, and they may want to retain your service again to see, how is my house
Get that off.
standing up? Because I know that I've done that in the past where I'm not very techy, not very handy. And by getting a re-inspection of my home puts me in a position to know where things are starting to get that wear and tear, where the furnace was 7 years, now all of a sudden it's 12 years old, that sort of thing. So you're getting that type of work as well.
A lot of people don't think about that sort of thing, and that's a very good point, because to think about that is a good thing, because as you say, things change. They age, and there's deterioration here and there. One of the things that we talk about sometimes is there are families where a husband or a wife passes away and the individual is alone in the house now. So if something happens, there's no one there to take care of that one person. There's no one there to know about what happened. So a lot of times we get, the family will bring us in and ask us to check that house to make sure they're safe there. And that's a good
Okay,
thing.
well, we're going to stop there. I could be asking you so many other questions and issues. We'll have to save that for another time.
Okay.
Thank you, Jean, for being on. It's Jean Meandro of Lighthouse Inspections. Now,
Yes.
if people want to contact you, how can they reach you?
Well, we've got many numbers. We've got the 1-800 numbers. We have 905-278-7770. That's in the Mississauga area or Toronto area. It's local. And we have a 1-800 number, which I guess I have to look up because I don't use it myself. 1-800-217-2450. And that would be from
But
anywhere
then
in
again,
Southern
that
Ontario.
number is not for you to use. It's for others.
That's
to
right.
use
That's
to
why I
call.
don't
Yeah,
recall
that's
it
why
all
you
the
don't
time.
know
Yes.
the number. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
We're going to cut away for a few moments, and we'll be back with another guest. Thank you. Thanks,
you.
Gene. Bye-bye. Welcome back. We're now into our last portion of our show, and we have Alice Landa.
That's correct.
Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you?
I'm fine, and thank you for having me here.
I love the sparkly eyes and the nice smile.
Well, that's
It
what
makes
happens when you love
Sunday
what you
all
do.
that much better.
Thank you.
And you're with Master Stagers.
That's right.
Okay. Tell us something about who are Master Stagers.
Okay. Master Stagers is a professional staging company. I'm a professional home stager. Basically, what we do is staging is a technique for selling homes for sale. What we do is we go through the home and review it. We look for strengths, we look for weaknesses, and we try to showcase every single room in that home. What we are trying to do is to maximize the equity in a home for a particular homeowner.
Now, I would venture to say you haven't done this for your entire life.
No, no.
What were you doing before you became a Master Stager?
In my former career, I was a CGA. I'm an accountant. But this is something that I've always had a great interest in and a passion for. So in 2006, I did a career change, and this is my new career, and it's like playing every day.
So you love it.
I absolutely love it.
You know, I usually find, and I tell people, young people who are going into law, I tell them have a passion for it. If you don't love what in fact you're doing, because you're going to be doing it all the time, don't do it. Mm-hmm. And it's nice to hear someone who has a real passion for their work. Now, you mentioned professional. What's that all about? Because I know you've shared with us that you're a professional accountant. What is this professional stager?
Well, professional is very important. Whether you're a homeowner or a realtor, you want to hire somebody that you are going to have confidence in and that is going to do a good job for you. As a professional, you need to have some sort of training. Staging basically is still an unregulated industry. So when you're looking for a home stager, you really need to find someone with accreditation. And there are many good programs out there. The two that are widely media recognized and are becoming the standard in the industry is accredited staging professionals and Canadian staging professionals. And I have both designations as well as a master's.
And how long are those programs or courses?
They are programs that you complete and then you gain experience and you take it from there.
Are there courses to take afterwards once you become
Continually.
Oh,
you can continually keep yourself fresh, keep your designations up, and those are requirements of the industry.
I would think it's almost like being an interior designer to some extent. You almost have to keep current on what is new, what is in style, knowing what, interestingly, and this will give away the date that this show is being produced, I was at the National Home Show. And it was amazing to see how, new style of kitchens and living rooms and new styles of furniture coming in and colors.
Yes.
So you're all involved in that.
You have to be. As a stager, I am neither a designer nor an interior decorator. Those are qualified professions. I do not have those designations. Home staging is different. It is less, it's less personal. When you do something for interior decorating, you are trying to be very personal to that homeowner. When I'm doing staging for the sale of real estate, what we are doing is depersonalizing. We are trying to gear that particular property to the widest range of potential buyers that we can. And so we take the personal element out because we want the buyer who comes into that home to put themselves into that space. So it's a very different field. Staging and interior decorating are not the same.
And do you find that when you come into the home, now, do you find that it's mainly real estate professionals, agents that would hire you, or is it actual homeowners?
It's actually both.
Okay.
It's actually both. If you're a real estate professional, again, you want someone who reflects you to that potential client, and you want to make sure that they treat that client as well as the realtor does. But oftentimes, because of Home and Garden Television, homeowners approach us. They actually want to get their home staged. They understand home staging. And it's an industry that's been around since the 70s, and it started in the US, and it has come to Canada, and it is gaining in popularity, and it is now becoming the standard for putting your home for sale.
Yeah, I would think, or my experience has been in almost the vast majority of listings today will use staging to some extent, either by clearing out a cluttered room or using different colors, trying to accent some strengths within the home.
Exactly.
Where you want to show, let's say, a large living room, dining room area, and it's cluttered up, you can put your little touch to it, and it makes it look great. Do you find, though, that when you go in where you've been asked by an agent to go in, did you get some pushback by the homeowner? Because at some level, you're saying to the homeowner, well, your house isn't quite what it could be to get the highest price. How do you don't want to insult them.
You have to be very diplomatic. And in fact, often realtors will bring me in because they have been telling their client that they need to eliminate this particular aspect of their home. Let's say it's flocked wallpaper that's very dated. And they've told
what kind of wallpaper?
You know, that fuzzy, velvety wallpaper.
Oh, the
or
kind that my
just
mother
something,
has
or
in
just,
washrooms.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, just very dated elements in their home. And they've been telling their client that they need to do that. But they're a real estate agent. When they bring in someone who is a professional in that field, homeowners will listen. And there is,
So you're not big on the padded, fluffy toilet seat cushion?
You just have to, what you have to do is go through the home, prioritize what's the most important thing, where money invested will give them the greatest return, and work with that.
What happens if you have a number, like a large family? There's children, there's the mother, the father, the grandmother, the extended family. How do you work with all those people?
And you have to come up with a solution, and this is where every property is unique because there are different requirements. So you do have to come up with a solution that works for everyone. For example, in a home with young children, we may not bring in our staging bedding. We may opt to purchase bedding on behalf of the client so that they can actually live in the space in a more comfortable way.
Okay.
You have the same situation with pets as well. You have to
Oh,
bring
I never
those
thought about
into
pets.
the equation as well.
You can't get rid of
because-
them.
No, you
No,
don't.
I'm
You don't
sorry.
get rid of them, but
Okay.
you can make it because pets are important to the family, but they are not a selling feature when you're selling your home. So again, you have to perhaps take the pets with you, perhaps have them stay with a friend.
Okay.
Especially during that initial stage when the house goes on the market, when there's a lot of open houses, a lot of interest, a lot of showings. In many situations, it's actually kinder to have the pet not disrupted so much by all this activity that is not usual for them.
That's very true. Now, is your staging a little bit different if you have a vacant home versus one where there's people living in it?
Yes, it's a different approach. When you have an occupied home, I try to use as much of what the homeowner has because it becomes more cost effective. But there are situations where you have pieces of furniture that are ripped to shreds or broken, or especially in a vacant home, you have to bring in items. Vacants are very hard to sell compared to occupied homes. They usually are on the market for a longer period of time, and it's often because there is no warmth, because they are vacant, and a home needs warmth, it needs color. Staging is not putting neutrals everywhere. You need color, and you also need relativity. For example, if you have a condo, and condos sometimes can tend to have small rooms, if you don't have a bed in the bedroom, people sometimes will look at it and say, I'll never get a bed in there. But if you actually put something in, it makes the room seem larger. So the concept of staging and is to be able to use just enough stuff to sell the space, but not too much stuff.
That's interesting to find that balance.
It's a balance. It's a fine balance.
Okay. Now, I went to see an open house. It was a builder's penthouse condo. And I got to tell you, it was gorgeous, the way it was set up. And I don't think it was some interior designer went in, but it looked that it was more staged. It was a temporary setting versus a more long-term. Got to tell you, it looked gorgeous. I'd buy that condo today and say, no, don't move anything. I want it like this. Do you ever get into trouble when you stage a house so well that the agent says to you, or your client says...
It's not the agent, it's the homeowner.
Client says, you know what, I love this. You know what, I don't think I have to move.
Yeah, exactly. And that does happen, and I usually get a very panicked look that comes across the realtor's face when that happens. But in that situation, it's very simple because you are selling your home. It is no longer your home, it is a product. We have showcased the product and marketed the product for you. If you like what we did, we actually take that. I can do the same thing for you in your own home, and that's another aspect to the business, which is really staging for living, where you can give the same color recommendations and furniture placement and lighting advice and all of that, and then it becomes a little more personal because then you are actually taking it to what the homeowner wants instead of just to what a buyer wants. And when a home is staged, buyers want that. You're selling a lifestyle, you're selling an aspiration, and that is what sells. People will walk in,
that's absolutely
and if
correct.
it's move-in ready and it's beautiful, they will buy it, and they will often pay more.
And it makes perfect sense. Now, in the process of, okay, I've come over, Alice, you're great, I want to retain your service. I'm putting the house up on the market. We do some pre-planning. We'll do the listing. We get everything ready. You'll come through the house, I'm sure. You'll say we can improve here, improve there. We can do some things to highlight some key areas of the house. Fairly certain we're going to have multiple offers. The house will sell in 48 hours. So how long, do I get your service for 48 hours, or how does this work?
Okay. Well, basically, staging is a two-part process. There has to be a consultation. You have to know what you're dealing with. So we go through and we look at every aspect, all the rooms in a home, what the strengths, the exterior, and we go through and give you a guideline and a checklist of what it is that you need to do. Then there is an element of work in between, and it depends on who wants to do that work. If the homeowner has the time and the resources, they can, or they can hire myself and the experts that I have behind me to be able to help them with that. Then there's the staging. That is the showcasing. That is bringing in the beautiful accessories, the lamps, the artwork, the things that make that home desirable to potential buyers.
Where do you get all this stuff?
Most stagers carry their own inventory, and you have to because you have to be able to respond fairly quickly.
Where do you store it?
Warehousing, storage.
Oh, yeah.
You have to do that. But it also helps you do the job better because you have things that already coordinate. You can work with the homeowner's belongings and dress them up, showcase them. And so that's basically how it works. And you end up renting the accessories for the period of of
like
the time.
I, as a homeowner, rent it.
That's correct.
But you don't rent
That's
it
correct.
from someone else.
It depends. If it's every stager runs their business differently.
Right.
Some stagers carry warehouses with furniture. Some stagers rent the furniture as they need it. It all depends
Do
again
you
on
ever
the
go to
individual.
a furniture store and borrow some of their stuff? I'm into this shabby chic now. All of a sudden, I never knew this term, shabby chic.
No.
I'm into shabby chic. I'm into taking worn desks and making it look very trendy.
Yeah, but that takes time. That takes time. When you're listing a home, you don't usually have the luxury of time to refinish things and to get them looking just right. You have to come in and do it efficiently and do it really effectively.
Yeah, because when people come into my home, I go by the term of minimalistic. Mm-hmm. Very minimal. No picture. My house is ready to move in. There's no furniture. There's no nothing. No pictures on the wall. We're ready to go. There's no such thing as clutter in my house, other than the laundry my kids seem to spread across the floor.
That's reality. And again, that is the difference between living and staging. The way you live in your house and the way you sell your home is two different things.
Now, quickly, I just want to show this because we're running out of time. This is a before and after, and the bottom is the before for those that don't know, and the top is the after. And look at that bottom. It looks like my mother's condo, except my mother has red.
Yeah.
Very
and
cluttered.
again, this is a situation where we had to bring in furniture just because what was there was very dated, but it was a multi-million-dollar home, and you need to have that color, that warmth, because you need this space just to invite a buyer into it.
Mm-hmm. Well, that looks great. Now, if people want to reach you, it's Alice Landa.
At Master Stagers.
Okay.
My phone number is 416-560-3447. And you can always email me at info@masterstagers.com.
The other thing, I want to thank you because, not only thank you for being here, but before you came on, you were commenting on the production set and how we can improve upon and bring in more warm colors and all these multicolored, like green. Well, that was for St. Patrick's Day last night, but we have green and we have rose and blue, and you really, thank you.
Again, you can apply the principles anywhere.
Yeah, and I got my shabby chic desk. Thank you.
Thank you very much,
It'd be a pleasure
Gary.
to have you back again in the future.
I'd love to
it's
be
a
back.
pleasure having you here.
Thank you very
so
much.
Well, that wraps up our show for this Sunday. And thank you for being with us. And it's Gary Shapiro, Shapiro & Cho, real estate and business lawyers. Our phone number is 416-250-1443. And our website is www.shapirocho.com. Thank you very much, and we look forward to being with you next week. Thank you. Good morning, Sunday morning. We're into March, great weather. I had the chance to go to the home show, and which was I really enjoyed it. It was a good way to get some informal workout without having to pay the huge exercise club fees. We have a number of people today, and our first guest is David Greenspan. Good morning.
Good morning. Nice to see you.
How are you?
I'm doing well.
I like what we were commenting. I like the dark
thank you.
outfit. I got to
Thank
go
you,
more
thank you.
dark on the set.
My wife says I need to brighten it up a little bit, but I prefer my blues and my blacks.
Okay, ladies. We now know he's married, so we'll get that out of the way.
The little
So-
plug for her.
For your wife?
Well, maybe she would like it. Who knows? We'll see.
Is she even
if she
watching the
Well,
show?
if she does watch, yeah, hopefully she will.
Okay.
Well, I'd like to feel like
since
I have
this
one
is being
fan,
taped,
Yeah.
you could go home and watch it with her.
and then we could watch it again.
And again.
Might do that.
Okay, we better make this a little spicier. Well, that's great. David,
Yes.
we have met at various trade shows
Yes.
over the last few years now.
That's right.
And there's always at these trade shows all these booths set up, and I've always noticed that yours has been extraordinarily busy.
I like that.
And you really attract, and it just so happens these trade shows are real estate agent, broker, mortgage
Yes.
broker related.
Absolutely.
It tends to be people that are in sales, that are trying to sell to a wide group of people, correct?
Yeah, absolutely.
And I've always been very curious, who's this guy? He uses this word called kits.
Kits, that's right.
Tell me about kits.
Where to begin? Kits is a keep in touch system.
Keep in touch.
Keep in touch system. So
Sounds
there's
very
where
good.
Kits comes from.
This is like in with the social networking era that
Well,
we're in.
you know, actually, it's I'd say it's almost completely opposite to the social network.
Really?
Well,
Okay.
you look at what's out there these days with respect to keeping in touch with people.
Right.
We've been bombarded for many, many, many years with that thing they like to call snail mail, being sort of paper. So you know, there's that aspect of it, and then now with the world we live in these days.
And then it went to email.
Well, and that's the idea. It went into
Right.
email, and then what we
Right.
got into was this social networking. And now what happened was about 2-3 years ago.
If I can just stop you there,
Yeah.
like we get, and we'll probably get into your system versus others, but the snail mail, like, garbage mail.
That's right.
And then we're so bombarded with emails, like I spend a half an hour every morning trying to sort through the trash from the good stuff, and even the good stuff I have to separate the important from the not so important.
That's right.
And the key is, like, so many of them I just get deleted. I don't even bother looking at because how they're titled, how they're presented. Because one thing that's really important to everyone is time.
Absolutely.
And I don't think any of us like people that waste our time. So there's your lead in.
But you're bang on about
Right.
that. And I mean, the idea being, so, okay, now that we've sort of conquered this thing of, well, snail mail is what it is, and we
Right.
throw it as quick as we do. Email, you've just
Right.
gone over exactly how probably 99.9% of us go through it. So asking you, what would you do to connect with the people you know? What do you do? Do you just leave them aside and think, they know who I am?
You can't.
You can't. Or do you sit back and say, I'm going to include those people in the same group of mass market like I market to everybody else, being the strangers as well as the people I know,
Right.
and not really differentiate who anybody is?
You can't do that either today.
I bought a car 2 years ago, and without naming which dealership we bought it from, the bottom line was a month after we purchased this brand new vehicle, we were getting email letters saying, why don't you come in and take advantage of some new specials we have
Right.
on new cars. Well,
And
the reality was 30 days later, I wasn't buying a new car. Know who I am, market to me differently, and now what'll happen is the marketing will get through, and
Right.
the message will get through. Invite me in for an oil change. Invite me in for a coffee. You know I've already purchased. Don't make me the same group as that mass market. So it's about maintaining that contact.
You know, it's funny because about 6 weeks ago, I got an email from a car maker,
Yeah,
not a car dealer, but a car maker,
right.
sending me another email about a car I had 10 years ago, and which I don't have any longer.
This is
and
my
I'm still
point.
getting mail
Yeah.
from them.
Yeah.
Which, like, I'm laughing at this.
Yeah. This is the idea, though, is exactly that, is that you're laughing at it.
Because they don't know what's going on in my life.
They got no idea.
Right.
Gary, this is the perfect segue to where kits came into play.
Okay.
We've been doing this now about 20 years for Fortune 500.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
20 years.
20 years. We've worked with
And
nationally,
and
HP
you're
and
like
Microsoft.
31, and boy,
Yeah.
you started young.
Well, I didn't start it 20 years ago.
Oh,
That would make
okay.
me, what, about 10 years old there. But no, I actually got into business about 6 years ago with my father. And he
Doing
had,
what kind of work?
well, doing exactly this, the marketing and the advertising,
really?
direct mail. You see, where it all went from was he had been doing this for Fortune 500 for a long time.
Right.
In the past, he was a broker owner of his own office,
Right.
real estate office.
Okay.
And switched that up a little bit and got into the marketing world in the early
Right.
90s when the market kind of went upside down.
Yes, yeah.
And so the idea was that he had been doing all this really unique direct mail keep in touch program to maintain that relationship with people. And about 5-6 years ago now, he approached me and said, you know, I've got this great idea to get in. And at the time, I'd been building custom homes. I'd already finished school and graduated out of a marketing program. The idea was, taking many sales courses throughout Canada and the States.
Right.
Was I going to go sell real estate? Was I going to go sell mortgages? What was I going to do? And in came this newsletter idea, and I got to tell you, newsletters didn't jump out at me as being the most extravagant thing in the world.
Right.
Yet this new technology that we're using, though, called variable data publishing,
Right.
which to the regular person who doesn't understand from the terminology in the print world would sit back and say, all we do is we personalize the message through direct mail. So now I know you had that car 10 years ago. I don't talk to you about that car anymore. We talk about the benefits of possibly buying a new car from us. It's knowing who you are, and that's what variable data
Okay, so
does for direct mail.
let's say I'm an agent,
Yeah.
real estate agent.
Yeah.
I've been in the business for 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm starting to get not only referrals, but repeat business. Someone's owned a house for 3-4 years, want
Yep.
to come back. I have my computer system set up. I know who my clients are,
Yep, absolutely.
and we talk. How do you, what do? You ask me for my list of clients, you ask me for information on my clients. How do you
This is the
gather
idea.
this?
First and foremost, I want to put out there, this is not just for agents who've been in the business 5 years. This is not just for agents who've been in the business or are established in the business. You see,
Right.
and this is what I feel to be one of the biggest misconceptions in the industry, is when you get in as even a brand new agent,
Right.
what systems should you have in place? And I think it's
Right.
very simple. A pen, a cell phone, a car, a license to drive that car, and a license
Right.
to sell the real estate.
Right.
As long as you know how to fill out that form, you've pretty much got the basics.
Right.
Next step. Where do we find our business?
Right.
Well, in comes this contact list. So be it a brand new agent, be it 5 years or, again,
Right.
seasoned.
So your ideal client actually is do you like getting them right when they start into the profession and growing with them?
We'll take them to wherever it's got to be. I mean, if you've seen those trade show booths
Yes.
we've got, it says referral gardeners on it as well. Well,
Yes.
the idea being what we're trying to do is plant that seed and grow or
Right.
maintain your business.
Okay.
Right, so with that, what we want, yes, we want to get a client's branding or their photo,
Right.
and we want to tailor it specific to their company or, again, their overall look and feel.
Right.
We also want to get their contact list.
Right.
Now,
And how often do you go over this with them? Like every 6 months, their contact list grows.
absolutely. Well, we've set up an actual online system. We've made this very user-friendly, very hands-off for the agent. I mean, look, we're all in sales. A lot of us are in sales. None of us really want to do all the work. We want to be able to have it done for us.
Now, you brought some material here.
We
and
did, yeah.
This is really interesting. How about going through, here I am, and it looks really good, but why don't you explain it?
Well, what you're looking at there, Gary, on the front of that book and within that book, we're talking about the Kits Keep in Touch system. And you see
Okay.
there that it says your Kits 6-pack marketing suite. It goes through 6 different products. It's got the kitspack.com being the online CRM system. We've got Realty Insights being a 10-time-a-year newsletter, which is using the variable data publishing. We've got a Home Buyer Insights
There we
buyer
are.
drip
Okay.
campaign, which is very unique to the market.
Yeah.
We set up a QR code and a microsite for the agents. So again, for those agents who don't really understand from these QR codes and what to do, we tell them not to think about it. We've got
Right.
it covered. We do use email, but we don't do it in a newsletter format.
Right.
It's what we like to call our breaking news email. And one that I can reference very quickly is 2 Thursdays ago now, actually on March 8th, when they made that announcement about the rates staying stable.
Right.
We actually came out and made an announcement that afternoon through email.
Oh, wow.
And the email looks very
Cool.
personal. So you as the realtor, we'd send it out on your behalf, and it would look completely personalized to the one individual receiving it. We wrote it, we sent it, we did it to 200 different contacts on your behalf. They all thought it was you just to them, and you just to that one person. So they hit reply and it comes back to you. And that's the way we've worked email into the whole system, is to make it relevant.
I'm noticing you got a package here.
Yeah.
And I'm going to open it, and it has, like, what is this, like a little report or newsletter?
We call it a newsletter. It's unique, it's different,
Okay,
it's what you see in the world these
Excuse
days.
me, I'm looking at five newsletters.
Correct.
And they're all different.
They're all different. They're all the same realtor in the same month to 5 completely
So this is
different
like
contacts.
one sort of mailing,
Yep.
but yet they're all different.
They're all different. You see, this is where variable data comes in, Gary.
And
Understanding
if I'm
who
reading
you
it,
are.
but there's certain things that are different in this one than that one, for example.
That's right.
Wow.
Well, here, what kind of home do you live in? Are you in a freehold home?
I'm in a freehold townhouse.
Okay, so you're in a
That's
freehold
minimalistic.
townhouse. Wonderful. Oh, chic and what was
Shabby
it?
chic.
Shabby chic. That was what.
I've gone beyond shabby chic to empty, but
Right.
okay.
Knowing the type of ownership you have, the
Yeah.
type of dwelling you live in,
Right.
the relationship you and I have together as I'm your real estate agent per se,
Yes.
the languages you may speak, the holidays you celebrate, and a lot more detail about
So
you.
on,
I
like
can market
Mandarin
directly
would
to you.
be on one, while Mandarin isn't on this one.
That's right. That's because
Oh.
we know this client speaks Mandarin.
Wow.
The content changes based on house type, ownership type.
Now, what does this scan give me? Is that like
That scan will actually take
what
you
is this
back.
called? I don't know.
It's
the
called a
name.
QR code. It stands
Oh,
for quick
okay.
reference. It's
Okay.
just an easy way to take a mobile device, scan that code, and link your paper back to your technology.
And that goes to the agent's website?
We've actually created a mobile page for the agent. You see,
Oh.
they're meant for mobile devices. To use a mobile device, scan that, and get to a big, heavy website, you end up just, well, you don't pay too much attention, you don't last very long. If we go to a mobile site, we make it short and easy, it pulls up very quickly, it's got live links to call you, email you, visit your website. So again, it's connecting people's
Wow.
paper back to their technology.
So I could, for older professionals like myself who
Yeah.
are not very techy,
Yep.
this is great because it introduces us, it brings us more current into the social networking,
Without thinking
contact
about
with
it. That's
clients,
right.
without even knowing what this squiggly thing is.
We've got it covered.
So you'd like, oh, so this brings me into the 21st century.
Essentially it does, yeah.
And then with new people, younger people who are more into this, you get them at a young age and are training them properly.
And what we're doing is taking the misconception that social networking is the be-all and end-all of our businesses and explaining to the younger people that if we can use print mail to target somebody and actually get through, that we'll be able to build and maintain those relationships with people on a long-time basis.
This is like, I'm looking at another one that has another language print.
That's right.
And it's like, wow, this is amazing. Oh, okay. And can you put things like holidays?
Well, as you're seeing on that particular piece, that would be
Oh,
Diwali.
Diwali,
That's right.
yes.
So for your one client who celebrates Diwali, again, the front cover can change and acknowledge
Now,
that
but
for
how
that
do you,
one
so,
contact.
oh, Halloween.
That's
This is, oh, look at this. There's, I don't know if you're picking this up. It's Halloween. These are great. So how do you get, so the agent, the professional you're working with would provide you with this input information?
And we do the input for them, save them the time. But the idea being, yes, they're going to provide us the contact list with the names and the addresses.
How do I get this out, though?
Just send me the contact list.
I mean,
we got the rest
Like
covered.
you put it in an envelope?
We put in the envelope. That envelope you're looking at there, we even actually put a real first-class stamp to make it look like you licked it and stuck it on
like
yourself.
first class being like pretty
real
stamp or first
real
class
61-cent postage.
Yeah, so like,
Real.
it wouldn't be good if this got to the homeowner and they had to pay for it.
No. You're going to pay the 61 cents. We're going to apply
Okay.
that stamp for you.
It's
When it gets to the
61
homeowner,
cents?
talk to Canada Post about that one.
Oh my goodness, that's why they're going to be out of business.
Right.
Oh, that'll be another show. Just very quickly, because we are running out of time. I thought this was incredible. This is
Open it up just
calendar-
like a CD.
Well, here. Oh,
Here we go.
I'm not from a CD era. I
Well,
do.
just do like this,
I
and
do
we stand it
LPs.
right there like that. You're the
Oh.
LPs, that's right, or the 8-track.
Which, by the way, have come back.
They have.
And worth a lot of money.
They have. And now
So-
you can spend a lot of money trying to get a machine to transfer the music on, but
Okay,
that's for
we-
another segment, right?
Okay, thank you. So, you know what I noticed? Like you have their name, but this is Lemonade,
Yep.
and you have the client's name right in there.
That's the client's name, that's right. So not my client. My client's
No,
name
no,
will be
but
down at the bottom.
Your client's
My client's
client.
client is going to be in the image. That's right.
Wow.
Yeah.
Now, what are those things I see at the trade show, those little wood,
The
little
little
coins?
round to-its.
Yes.
They're called round to-its.
And
So
what
if
are
everybody
they?
says they're going to get a round to it,
Oh,
I got to get
my
around to it.
goodness. Oh,
So for
that's
folks that
cute.
we like to see on an annual basis that come up and they get all sorts of information and say, you know, I really need to do something, we just like to flip them one of those wooden chips and
Oh,
let
that
them
is
collect in their
very,
bedrooms.
that's very cool, very cool. Now, people want to reach you, contact you.
Absolutely.
How can they reach you?
Through every way in the world, there's the website, www.kitspack.com.
Okay.
There is email at either info or david@kitspack.com.
Okay.
And then again, of course, there's the local number of 905-731-7455 and the toll-free of 888-548-7725.
Now, you're going to be at Realtor Quest, I know.
Absolutely, we
Okay,
are.
so Realtor Quest is the trade show put on by Treb,
That's correct, yeah.
and usually we get many thousands of real estate professionals out. and
Biggest show in the
you've
country.
You've always
Yeah.
been there.
You bet.
And
We're excited.
yeah, and it's a crazy few days,
It is.
but it is fun.
It is.
And so agents that are watching, they can meet you there
Absolutely, come on and find us.
and just go over there and painless.
You bet.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much.
Yeah,
Thank
we're
you
looking
for
forward to
coming.
it. Thank you
Great
for having
seeing
me.
you
Yeah,
again.
absolutely.
So 31 and married. Okay. We'll leave you on that note. Okay.
Thanks, Gary.
Thanks
Thank you.
for being here. We're going to take a break now, and we'll be back with our next guest. Thank you very much.